Welcome to the Extra Mile podcast for bar exam takers. There are no traffic jams along the Extra Mile when you're studying for your bar exam. And now, your host, Jackson Mummy, owner of the Celebration Bar Review.
Hey everybody, welcome to episode 249 of the Extra Mile podcast for bar exam takers. This is your host, Jackson Mummy. I'm glad to have you with us. Hope everybody had a great week and a great weekend. Mine was a little sleep deprived because, as it turned out last week, both New York and Texas released their bar exam results way earlier than anticipated and with no warning. And so it was kind of a frantic try and catch up weekend. And I'm going to talk a little bit about those exams in just a minute. But our episode today is primarily based on an interview that I did a week ago with a passing UBE student who passed in Missouri. And it's a great interview. We're talking to a man who had taken the Texas bar unsuccessfully 5 times more than a decade ago, and basically walked away from the bar exam and law completely, and then decided he really needed to give it one more shot. Came to us, worked with us on the UBE, and passed on his first try. It's a great story. I think you're going to want to stick around and hear our interview with James Churchill. Now, if this is your first time on the podcast with us, we're really glad to have you here. Welcome. We come to you every week about this same time to talk about all things bar exam related, and we're really glad that you found us. You can either watch or listen to the podcast. If you prefer the video version, just go to celebrationbarreview.com/249. That's the episode number, and you'll be able to watch, and there are show notes right there as well. If you prefer to listen to your podcast, you can do that on Apple iTunes, on iHeartRadio, and Spotify, and just about any place that podcasts are syndicated. And we would encourage you to subscribe to the podcast. We do bonus episodes from time to time. I'll probably do a bonus episode on the Texas and New York results, so stay tuned for that if you're interested. We are also really pleased to let you know that we have an archive of all of our podcast episodes. We've been on the air now for more than 4 years, and you can find those podcasts along with the show notes on our website. There is a tab at the top for podcast episodes. Just go back in there and you can check that out. There's lots of great information and material. So, having said all that, one more thing I do want to talk about for sure, and that is that this Thursday night, we've got a free training webinar. It's called Do Something Different, Make the Next Bar Exam Your Last Bar Exam. And it's not an afterthought at all. It's really an important step in being able to pass the bar exam. And literally thousands of people have been through this training. It's changed lots and lots of lives. And I encourage you to join us. It's completely free, but you do need to register in advance. And you can do that by clicking the button on the show notes page, either for the video or the audio, or by going to this website, celebrationbarreview.com/webinar. Now, during this training, we're going to take you through the 4 steps that successful bar takers follow in order to pass their bar exams. There's lots of case studies, and I really encourage you to check it out and spend the time. I think it will be an eye-opening experience for you and well worth the time that you invest. But again, you do need to register, so make sure you get to celebrationbarreview.com/webinar. The webinar will be presented at 7 p.m. this Thursday evening. All right, well, let me spend just a couple of minutes now talking about what we do know about New York and Texas results. And as I'm recording, I still don't have the official Texas results or statistics out. So there's not a whole lot to tell you officially at this point. So Texas results were released on Friday the 26th. That was a surprise. We didn't expect them until the first part of May, and we still don't have those statistics as I'm recording today. So I think we're going to do a bonus episode talking about Texas and New York results. I don't have a lot to tell you because I don't have the official results. I will say that we did have some successes among our students in Texas, and congratulations to everybody that passed that exam. One thing I think you want to keep in mind, however, if you did not pass the Texas exam in February 2019, there are only 3 more chances to take the Texas bar exam as it's currently constructed. Beginning in February 2021, the test switches to the UBE. And so you may want to start thinking about taking the UBE instead of retaking Texas. And that's part of the reason we're using this interview with Jim today, because that was his particular strategy and it worked perfectly for him. So it's something to keep in mind. I'll talk more about it when we get the Texas results, so we do a bonus episode on those results. We also received, surprisingly, the New York bar results last week. Now, again, New York never tells you when they're going to put out their results. So unlike Texas, they didn't jump the gun. They just got them out really early. Normally, we would have expected the New York results sometime the week that this episode is dropping. And they're usually done right after midnight by email. Well, this year, for some unbeknown reason, in the middle of the week at 6 a.m. Eastern time, they released results, and my phone blew up at about 6:01. And so that was really a surprise. It came out much, much earlier. Now, again, we'll talk more about those results in a separate podcast, but I just want to make a couple of notes here. You may have heard that the pass rate for this exam in February 2019 in New York was 72%. That's a misleading number. That was the pass rate for ABA graduate first-time takers on the exam. That is nice, but it was not a majority of the bar takers. In fact, the overall pass rate on the exam was 45%. So again, fewer than half of the people that took the New York bar exam passed. And I want to make that point, not because I'm trying to be negative. I'm excited for everybody that passed. I think it's great. But the reality continues to be that this first-time pass rate is really a misleading number. Most of the people taking the bar exam don't pass the bar exam. And I think it's particularly important to understand that so that you're not sucked into this mythology that you should do what everybody does because everybody passes. And the reality is just the opposite. Not everybody passes. In fact, a majority of people do not. The numbers were particularly concerning when we get to foreign educated students. Only 35% of those candidates passed the bar exam. And for repeaters specifically, the repeat bar taker pass rate was only 36%. So it's a tough exam, and there were more repeaters than there were first-time takers, and so we see this statistical number coming up. So again, I'll have more to say about that in an upcoming special bonus episode, but I wanted to at least give you those numbers right now. The UBE will have additional results coming out. We should start to see the New Jersey results. We'll get DC results. A whole bunch of bigger jurisdictions in the UBE should be releasing over the next few weeks. Beyond that, now that Texas and New York have released their results, the next two big states we're waiting for are California and Georgia. We would expect those in mid-May, but given what Texas and New York did, maybe we'll get them sooner. Who knows? And when we do, we'll let you know that. So that's the quick update on where we are on bar results and where we are in the bar results season. About 25 states now have released results around the country, so we've still got about half the country that we're waiting to hear from. And of course, the big one of those will be California. All right, well, with all of that bar review news going on, I think it's also good to talk about the victories, to celebrate the wins. And what a great win we had with Jim. This is a guy whose story, as you're going to hear, is pretty remarkable. What you won't hear in this interview is that Jim was doing a lot of late night, long haul driving while he was studying for the bar. And so he told me that he would listen to my lectures at night through the earbuds, out on the highway driving, which is a little scary to me to think of. But he said it was really quite an experience. You've got the big open sky, the brilliant, beautiful night skies in Texas, wide open highway. He's got a partner working with him. He's bringing the big hauls around the state, and he's listening to the bar exam and the bar review. And man, what a story! And he passed the UBE on his first try. So I think you're going to really enjoy this interview. And I'm not going to keep you waiting for it any longer. Let's jump into our interview with a successful Missouri bar taker with the UBE, James Churchill. Well, hey everybody, welcome back to Hanging Out with Successful Bar Exam Students. Sometimes we find them in hotel restaurants like today, and we've got a great story with you and a great person, James Churchill. Jim, it's good to have you with us.
Hi, Jackson.
Where are you today?
I'm in the Omni Hotel in the Dallas-Fort Worth area. It's actually Coppell, Texas, which is just north of Dallas, north and west a little bit.
Okay. So the reason I say that is because you and I only talked when you were on the road. So it was always an interesting,
That's right.
Where in the world is Jim? And, but we have a big story today to tell. And the story is that you passed the Missouri UBE Bar in February 2019, correct?
That's right.
Yeah. How does that feel?
I'm thrilled, to say the least. It's been a long journey, and it was interesting. I was a little overwhelmed when I got the news because I thought it was April 18th that the release was coming out, but I think that was for the people who were actually named, and it was actually released on the 17th. which kind of took me by surprise. So I wasn't ready to brace myself either way. And so my son called me and prompted me, and that's an interesting story. And then it kind of blew me away. So I'm thrilled. I'm really excited. Thank you.
That's great. Now, your story is a really remarkable one on a number of levels. And I wanted to just give you the chance to kind of talk through that story and tell people a little bit about what happened, because you didn't start with the Missouri UBE exam. I mean, your story goes way back, doesn't
Yes, sir. Sure does. It's been a long road. Gosh, I graduated in '97. Took a few bar exams, got close. Traditional approach wasn't working. Got into a slump. Uh, Tried other jurisdictions. Traditional bar review. Working full time. Well, here's what happened. I graduated from law school. Got married the next month. Got pregnant the next month, and we were pregnant ever since. Working 1 and 2 jobs. Eventually 3 children, which we're blessed to have. But all this is just, for me, it was totally unmanageable. And so I had a few exams there where I failed by half a point, point and a half. And my mother died one night. And I got a call at midnight the day before an exam.
it?
My
Wow.
brother called saying, yeah, mom died, which was expected, but I wasn't expecting it the night before the bar examination. And so surgeries and injuries and just different crazy things made it difficult. So when the children were in elementary school, I said, okay, time out. We need to stop this process. I'm in a rut. It's not going well. And by a football analogy, I was running up the middle, running up the middle, running up the middle. And people from an objective standpoint would say, why do you keep running up the middle? You're not gaining any ground. What are you doing? So I just had to stop and get these kids down the road, get them on their way. And I had a long break, 10-year break. And now I'm in a position, or was in a position, where 2 of the boys were in college and my daughter's a junior in high school. Things were stable. I thought, okay, let's go. And I started thinking about how to prepare, because what I was doing wasn't working. It may work for some, but it wasn't working for me. Stumbled across your bar review just through research on the internet, and started listening to some of the testimonials, started looking at some of the material, and I thought, you know what? I think I should throw away the old playbook, close the door on all past practices that weren't working, completely, almost die to myself as far as bar review goes, and start brand new. Now, that's really hard to do sometimes, because some of those things that you learn, some of the processes are ingrained in you. And it was difficult at the first to block that out and to start fresh. But I had to do it. And your approach, celebration, completely different. Some of it to me at first was sort of newfangled. I thought, oh my goodness, this is really wacky.
So it sounds like there was a whole lot going on, obviously, and a long period of time. And you had maxed out on the number of tries in Texas at that point. Is that accurate?
That's correct.
Okay, so this period of time goes by, about 10 years or so. You come to find Celebration Bar Review, and our approach is very different than what you had done previously. Um, and I think you said it felt sort of newfangled and a little out there for you, right?
A little bit. It was brand new, totally
Yeah.
different.
Yeah. But you talked about, and in our early conversations, you said to me exactly what you said today, which was, I've just been doing the same thing over and over again. I'm not making any progress. I know I have to do something different. So what was that sort of internal dialogue like for you as you began to get into what this different thing was?
Well, you know, eventually I came to the realization, do something different. I mean, because you have to be honest with yourself and say, okay, what you're doing is not working. You see some people pass and you see some people fail, and you think this is the way we do it because we've always done it this way. And whether it's in my business or where I work or with the bar review, you have to look at it objectively and be real honest and go, is this what you're going to keep doing? And then you have to ask why. Are you getting the results that you need? No. Then what are you doing? Just like, again, it's like in football, running up the middle, running up the middle, running up the middle, and they're stopping you, stopping you, stopping you. You might eventually break through, but it might be, 4 games from now.
Yeah.
If your opponent is stopping you,
Yeah.
then find out where you can break through.
Did it
And
ever,
break
did you,
through.
right. Did you ever think, maybe this just isn't in the cards for me. Maybe I should just give up completely and move on with my life. I mean, you had a successful life. You've raised your kids. You've got a good family. You got a good job. What was it that drove you to come back and put yourself through this again?
Well, overall, to stop the process and to feel incomplete is just something I can't accept just naturally. But when you start looking objectively at it, it's okay to pivot in life. It's okay to quit sometimes in life, but not here, not in this case. But I was down one time. I had another failure and maybe a job change or this thing, that thing. And I was talking to my older brother at one point out in California, and he was consoling me. And I said, okay, when do I quit? And he gave me a one-word answer, which was never.
Yeah.
And I took a deep breath. That's all he said. And I took a deep breath and I said, okay, let's go. Just
Yeah.
bootstrap it in. Let's go. Put your cleats back on, get after it. And that's what I did.
What did your
It was
family?
hard.
Yeah. What did your family think about this when you decided you were going to go back and take the bar again?
I kept it a secret.
Yeah.
My
Yeah.
wife knew, my children knew.
But nobody else,
Other
right?
than other than that, I don't know if anybody else knew. It was because they told somebody. My brother didn't know.
Yeah.
My parents are gone now. I don't think my in-laws, my mother-in-law knew, or my in-laws, cousins know.
Yeah.
So I kept it close to the vest. I didn't tell friends. I didn't tell people at church. Nothing.
Okay.
I
So
just wanted to focus.
right. So your immediate family, your wife and your kids, what's their reaction to this?
Uh, my oldest son was on the phone on the 17th of April. I was on the road. I was in Lubbock, Texas, in my hotel room, and he called me. He's in college, and he said, "How are you doing?" We exchanged just chit chat, and then toward the end of the conversation, he said, "So, do you have any news?" And I said, "No, I don't have any news. I have to go to work tonight, but no, I don't have anything." And he said, "Are you sure?" And I said, "No, I don't have anything. What are you talking about?" And he said, "The bar exam." I said, "Oh no, those results come out tomorrow." And he said, "You told me it was today." And I said, "Oh, I did? Oh well, let me check the homepage." So I got on the homepage there, and I said, "Oh, there's a letter here. Let me open it up." And I started reading it, and the first sentence, the first words were, "You passed the 2019, Missouri Bar Exam," and I went nuts. I just lost it. I lost my emotions, and I was trying to hold it back. And he said, "Dad, let it out, let it out." Became a blubbering idiot, and he has a patented war cry from sports, which is "Let's go!" And he shouted that, and when he did, I just completely fell apart. And I wasn't ready.
Yeah.
I would have been ready tomorrow, the next day.
Well,
So I was
that's right. Yeah, we have our own war cry, which I'm going to make you do at the end of this video. So I'm just telling you, but prepare yourself.
My
So
other son, exact same war cry.
yeah,
And
okay,
my daughter is a little more mellow, and she
yeah.
was very excited. My wife was bouncing up and down. "Why didn't you call me sooner?" All
So
very happy, very pleased. And, they commented, "You worked hard, you stayed with it, you stuck it out, you were committed. Congratulations, you deserve it." And it was very gratifying.
yeah, let's back up for a minute and just talk about the strategy that you and I selected. Because when you first contacted me, you were trying to figure out whether or not you should petition Texas to go back in and take the exam again. There is a hard limit in Texas, but you can petition for more tries. And we talked about, instead of doing that, sitting for the uniform bar exam and finding a jurisdiction that felt comfortable and just taking the test there and seeing where your score fell out. And you chose Missouri. which requires a 260 in order to pass, which is a good, solid passing score. But it's a very different exam. I mean, there's no state law, there's no oil and gas, there's no procedure and evidence. I mean, it's a very different test, isn't it?
Very fair, very solid, challenging, but not ridiculously so.
Right.
I was very comfortable there.
And Missouri's a nice state. They handle their testing really pretty well, I think.
I must say, and I even commented to the bar examiners at the scene, and I wasn't trying to, do anything strange, but I did make a comment. What a great bar! It was run well, procedurally, it was perfect. Everyone was really on the job, and it ran very well. It was very impressive.
Yeah, I'm a big fan of the Missouri bar examiners. I think they do a really nice job, and they
They
get
do a
results
beautiful job.
quickly,
They did a
which is
beautiful job.
yeah. So let's talk a little bit about the way you prepared, because you had some challenges. You were on the road, at least from my standpoint, like 85, 90% of the time you're on the road. We did a lot of minivan, hotel conference kinds of discussions. And obviously you've been away from this for a long time and kind of getting back into it. What were the challenges from your standpoint? You've been away, now you're studying, it's a new set of materials, a different approach, different world, your life is different. What stands out to you looking back in the preparation process?
The gap was challenging, but had I worked in a normal 8 to 5 job, I don't think that would have been very difficult, because you lay out the preparation materials, and it's a playbook, it's a schedule. You just check it off as you go, and you just do the work. So if you have a block of time every day that you can set aside, and it doesn't have to be 12 hours a day, whether you have 6 months, 3 months, 12 months, it doesn't matter. You can figure out your schedule and just do it. It works. In my particular case, I was on the road for a huge company every day, almost every day, for a stint there, for a few months there, 5 nights, 6 nights a week, or days a week. I'd have a day and a half at home. That's very difficult. But I had to just find my moments, my hour, my 45 minutes, my 2 hours, and just do it. So the biggest thing for me, whether I was on the road or whether I was at home in a very structured environment, was having a playbook, having the structure and the calendar. And I had to get to a point in my mind where I'm going to do it his way, Celebration's way, Jackson's way, not my way, not even a part of my way, not even take your way and then augment it a little bit with something I know. That was a big challenge. I had to let go of everything I've ever known and just say, okay, just do what he says. And we had a meeting in the very beginning on our writing sample.
I remember.
This is very important, Jackson. You and I did not have a discussion every week on the writings I was submitting. What we had one face-to-face. I submitted a writing, and you let me have it. You said, look, you were an athlete, right? Yes, I was. Okay, I'm your coach, is what you said. I said, all right. Do you understand that? Yes. Okay. What you sent me is terrible. I told you what to do. I told you how to do it. It's even in writing, and yet you send me this? This is terrible. I reject this. I'm not even going to look at it. And I mean, it went on and on. And so I got the message loud and clear. And that was the moment. This was very early on. I said, okay, I've got to stop putting my 2 cents in and using whatever methods that I have. I got to throw it away. And that's what I did. And so I said, and even in the very beginning, I was like, oh, they want me to do this. They want me to do that. I have to listen to this. Oh, golly. Just do it. I had to talk to myself and kind of force myself. And then once I got into the rhythm of the thing, it just piloted me through.
Yeah.
I just rode the wave, man.
Just to be clear here, folks, I'm not always this tough on people. I felt like as an athlete, you would respond better to that kind of direct in your face coaching. And you did. And I presumed that you would respond to the challenge, that you would see it and understand it. And in fact, that's what started to happen. And I could tell that you were getting into the rhythm and starting to get a flow of the work and what you wanted to do and following what we were trying to do. And I think in part what I was trying to do was to give you permission to just follow and do what I was asking you to do. And I think sometimes that's really hard for people because it's so different. It's so frightening from, issue spotting and memorization and traditional reading and traditional writing, that
Right.
it just feels so bizarre. And so sometimes you almost have to have permission from somebody to say, look, I'm going to be such an SOB that you're going to do it my way, so you can throw me under the bus if it doesn't work. But I knew that you didn't come to this lightly. You didn't come to it casually or thinking, I'll just play around with it. I mean, you were really serious about wanting to do it. And my view was, if he's this serious and he's willing to do it with all of the challenges that he's got in his life, it means he really wants it. And so if we can give him the direction, he'll follow it. I mean, that's the great thing about athletes and soldiers. And, there's a certain group of people that will just follow directions if you give them to them. And you were one of those people, but I had to get you on the right path. And once you did that, it was actually pretty easy from our standpoint because you were just following the process at that stage, right?
That's right. And I'm kind of hard-headed, but once I did that, and by the way, you told me, you said, look, I'm the man. I'm the expert. I'm the teacher. I'm the professor. I have sent countless people to success. Do what I tell you to do. And that's all I needed. And I thought, okay, I believe.
Yeah. And yeah. I really sound bad in this call.
No, it worked for me. It worked for me. I mean, if I needed you to put your arm around me and console me, I'm sure he would have done that too. But with my personality, you saw what was going on. And,
honestly, I would have done that if we needed it. But I was so impressed with your determination. And there aren't, most of the time when I talk to somebody who comes at this with your background, where they've been close and not made it, and they've had a lot of family issues, and they've just struggled and gone away from the law for a decade and then come back to it. You're going to go one of two ways. You're either going to be all in like you were, or you're going to be lukewarm, kind of like, I don't know, it's all right. I've failed before, I can fail again. And I didn't hear anything from you that was, it's okay to fail. It's okay to not succeed. I heard, I am determined to do it. And so it didn't really matter what the circumstances were that you were facing. It appeared to me that you were just determined to make that happen. And that's the kind of student that as a teacher, you just got to love, because they're going to run through a brick wall if that's what you ask them to do. And so metaphorically, I guess we asked you to run through a brick wall, not running up the middle, but, giving a different approach. How many hours a week would you say you were studying leading up to the exam? What if there's an average?
I have to think about it. I pretty much did what the syllabus said. Some days it was an hour, some days it was a couple hours, but I did it over a long
day. But you did it every day.
Yes, I did something. I did something every day. Sometimes I would take Sunday off, but I did something every day, whether it be a lecture or a paraliminal or photo reading or questions or writing, something. I just kept chugging, going down the road. I didn't want to get off on a tangent or a break and then not get back on. It's just like exercise. You don't have to run a marathon every day, but you've got to do something. You got to have breaks. You got to take your breaks. You got to have some balance. You have to refresh yourself. But every day I did something. I would take one day a week off.
Yeah.
And that was manageable because I allowed myself enough time, calendar-wise, to do that. I didn't want to do this 12 hours a day.
Yeah, exactly. Well,
my job wouldn't permit it. It's impossible.
Yeah. You mentioned photo reading and paraliminals. I want to talk a little bit about those particular tools for a minute, because if someone were looking at you, they would not think of you as somebody that does photo reading or paraliminals, right?
Right. I don't.
Yeah. Yeah. What was that process like of learning to photo read?
It was crazy. I tried it and I was wondering if this is real. Tried it again, kept working with it. Then what I did, I really delved in, I really jumped in, and I did some questions, some multiple choice questions without it. And then later on down the road, after photo reading, I came back and did some, not the same questions, but in the same category. And I had a bump. I had a bump in my score, and it was demonstrable, or it was great enough to get my attention. I mean, I'm not going to say it was a 30-point differential, but it was a few points. Like, wow, that matters. So I thought, okay, it's working. I don't know how it's working, but I just said, don't question it. Don't put your stuff, your 2 cents in. Just do it. Do what they're saying. I just did it. And the
Yeah.
paraliminals, I don't know what to say about the paraliminals. I couldn't tell you. I just did them. I did them every day. I can't explain them. I guess they work. Let me let me say this. When I went into the bar exam, I mean, I did everything you said all the way up through the bar exam, not just to 2 weeks out. I mean, to the very end, till I walked out of the door. I did everything you said. When I walked into that bar exam, I mean, no offense, but I was looking around going, wow, these people look terrible. Everybody, I mean, a lot of people looked horrible physically. You could see it. You could see they look sick, coughing, sneezing, tired, rings under their eyes, panicking. I just walked in there and just sat down like nothing, like it was just another day of practice.
Yeah, Jimbo's in town.
Yeah, what's up?
Yeah.
Crazy.
I describe paraliminal sometimes. It's like electricity. I don't know how electricity works, but when I flip the switch, the lights come on.
Yeah.
And there's a certain amount of that. I think that one of the great things, I get questions all the time from people. They say, do these tools work? And I say, well, if you look at the students that we've got who use them, they can't explain why they work necessarily, but they do work. I mean, they go from not passing to passing. That's a pretty good indication that the tools work, and they trusted them and use them. And I think that one of the keys was that you use these tools all the time. The paraliminals work for you. You know, you tried the photo reading, you saw that it was making a difference, continued to use it. How many times would you think you had photo read a subject outline by the time you went to the bar?
Oh, several.
Yeah.
Um, Maybe 6. I don't really remember. I
Okay.
wasn't counting or
So
trying to
multiple
keep a
times.
record.
Right.
Yeah,
So
multiple times.
Yeah. In a traditional bar review, you would have read that outline maybe once, maybe twice if you really stretched it. So you're getting much more, work with the material. And then the paraliminal recordings, which are these audio recordings designed to sort of take away blocks and barriers in your brain. Was there any particular title in the paraliminals that you found that you really liked that was like a go-to?
I love the relaxation.
Yeah.
I love the focus. I did them all.
Yeah. Okay.
And a lot of time, and on the paraliminals as well, they give you a Monday through Friday or Monday through Saturday
Yeah.
calendar. And I just was doing what they said. I just, oh, it's Monday. This is my Monday paraliminal. This is Tuesday. And sometimes I would mix them up. And they've got sleep and they've got wake refreshed, and I just did them all. And can't explain it, but I was calm, relaxed, self-assured, confident, didn't have any problems, no anxiety. I was just very almost mechanical, methodical. It was just like another day of practice. And I would like to tell you something, if I don't know if this is the appropriate time, about the actual MBE
Sure.
taking that test. I did something I've never done before. When the test booklets were handed, and I have my answer sheet, and they say go, what I did was question 1, word 1, I just read the fact pattern. And then I went to the answers and I marked my answer. And then I went back to the question booklet and I put a line through number 1 that one's complete. And I moved on to question 2, started reading the first line, read the fact pattern once, slowly and smoothly. And I went to the questions, marked the answer, moved on. I did that from question 1 to question 200. And I finished I think one session I was 18 minutes early. I think one I might even been 30 minutes early. And the guy sitting next to me said, "Nice try, man. Better luck next time." I'm like, "What? What are you talking about?" And other times I would finish short, or it would be close, and I'd be bubbling in right at the last few seconds. But I had time to go back if I wanted to. I did not. I circled a couple of questions where I was debating between A and C or B and D or whatever. So only 2 questions I had to go back and take another look. Usually I would do other methods, and I saw one of your videos at one point. This was one of the choices that you suggested, and that's what I did.
That's great. That's
Yeah,
fabulous. And you passed the MBE. So there
yeah,
you go. That's great. Well, we were talking about War Chance, and you've heard us talk about here. We like to say, "I have my life back," and you're probably familiar with Dave Ramsey and Financial Peace.
sure. Oh
Well,
yeah,
I admit I stole this from Dave many years ago, but I think it's appropriate here at the end. We're going to count you down, and I would love it. I know you're in a public place, you can't yell too loudly, but we'd love to have you just as loudly as you feel like is appropriate. Just share. I have my life back, because that's really what it is, isn't it? You get your life back at this point.
true.
So, all right, you ready?
I'm ready.
We're going to count it down. All right, 3, 2, 1.
I have my life back.
Love it. Love it.
That was
Congratulations.
loud.
Yeah. And you know what?
Here comes security.
They're coming to get you.
I need a criminal defense attorney.
Yeah, that's right. Well, I know where you can find a good one. I'm really pleased for you. I'm very proud of you and delighted at this success. I know your family, your friends, everybody that is around you feels the same way. And I appreciate so much that you would share your story with our audience, because as you said, there are people that will watch these videos and testimonials, and they'll be thinking to themselves, "I don't know, maybe I can't do it anymore." And then they see the story and they say, "Wow, it is possible," right?
Sure it is. And I want to thank you and June at all the support staff. Very accessible, very responsive, beautiful, well done. It's run very well, your program, and it worked for me. Thank you.
Yeah.
Means a lot.
Well, you're welcome, and it's our pleasure. And it's great to have a success story like yours to share with other people, and to see.
I've waited a long time, Jackson. I had to stop and let other people live their lives for a while, and put myself second, and I had to wait my chance, wait my turn. And so I wanted to seize the moment, and I want to thank you for helping me seize that moment. I really appreciate it.
You're welcome. It's our pleasure. Jim, it's been great talking to you. I love staying in touch. Let us know what happens. This is going to be so much fun you with a member of the Missouri Bar, and the cool things that are ahead for you. I hope you'll stay with our Facebook group and our family of past successful takers. I know that your insights are welcomed. So to all of our audience, thanks for being with us. I hope you've enjoyed this as much as I have. Just a great opportunity to chat with a terrific guy. So we're going to sign off for now. Thanks, everybody, for being with us. Bye-bye. Well, that's our episode for today. I hope you enjoyed the conversation with Jim. He's a terrific guy, as you can tell, and it's a great, great win for him, great success, and we're really excited. Now, if you'd like that same kind of success, if you want to make the next bar exam your last bar exam, I want to remind you that coming this Thursday night, 7 p.m., is a special free special free training webinar called Do Something Different. Make the next bar exam your last bar exam. You can register by going to celebrationbarreview.com/webinar, or just clicking on the button link in the show notes on either the video or audio page. And then you'll be all set up, you'll be enrolled and ready to find out what successful bar takers like Jim actually did in order to pass their bar exam. Well, that's it for this week. We'll be back to you with special bonus episodes on New York and Texas results, probably combine that into one episode. To make sure you don't miss out on any of that, make sure you subscribe to our podcasts on Apple iTunes, and we will be back with you again next week with more stories and interviews and news and information about the bar. But I hope everybody has a great week, and congratulations to those that passed their bar exams and found out about it this week. For those of you that didn't, keep your head up, keep working. We'll see you along the extra mile, and let's find a way to help you make the next bar exam your last bar exam. Thanks, everybody. Bye-bye.
Thanks for listening to the Extra Mile podcast for bar exam takers at www.celebrationbarreview.com.